Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SAG-AFTRA podcast. I'm Duncan Crabtree Ireland, SAG-AFTRA National Executive Director and Chief Negotiator. Last month, the SAG-AFTRA Foundation launched the Meryl Streep Center for Performing Artists, a 15,000 square foot space in the penthouse of the 5757 Wilshire Boulevard building in Los Angeles, where I am sitting right now. This state of the art facility includes a 100-seat screening room, an on camera studio, an upgraded voiceover lab, classrooms, and more to support a wide array of free educational and career building programs for SAG AFTRA artists. And the foundation's work extends far beyond this new space. Over the past few years, they've granted over $21 million in emergency assistance. That's amazing. $21 million in emergency assistance to more than 14,000 SAG AFTRA members, providing a truly crucial lifeline during the pandemic and, of course, during the recent strikes. To bring us up to speed on all the incredible initiatives that the SAG AFTRA Foundation has been up to, I am truly delighted to be joined by my friend Sid Wilson, Executive Director of the SAG AFTRA Foundation. Sid, welcome to the SAG AFTRA podcast.
Thank you so much, Duncan.
It's so great to have you here. I've been looking forward to having you on the podcast for a long time, so I'm glad we finally made it happen. And with what better moment to do it than to celebrate the launch of the Meryl Streep Center for Performing Artists? I mean, this has been such an extraordinary effort. But before we get into that, why don't we just take it back to basics just to make sure that everybody who's listening to this podcast really understands what the SAG-AFTRA Foundation is all about and what its core mission is. Can you enlighten us?
Sure. SAG-AFTRA Foundation, believe it or not, we are approaching our 40th year. So
Woo.
for 40 years, the SAG-AFTRA Foundation was created initially to provide financial assistance, so emergency assistance and scholarships. And then as the years went on, it was really clear that it was important for the foundation to provide some type of a toolbox for actors who don't have a business manager, who may not have an agent yet, people who were at places in their career where there were other things that we could give them other than just an emergency assistance check to help them really build themselves as an entrepreneur, as a small business. So over the years, the foundation has really grown to providing programming. And I think this year we had about 48,000 people who participated in our program. So we're really there to be a safety net and to be of assistance to the members.
Well, and I think members really feel that. I mean, I've been aware of the foundation since I started working at SAG back in 2000. I've had the privilege of being on your board for the last couple of years, but just the various programs that the foundation has had to really support actors, not only in emergency situations, but in career building and just in the challenging existence of making a living as a professional
Yes.
performer in this industry, which is so hard, harder than most people ever realize it is. Like to have the foundation there to stand by their side and to back them up, I think is huge. Can you talk a little bit about the Meryl Streep Center? Like, how was the decision made? Why was the decision made to create this new Center for Performing Artists?
Traditionally, the foundation was primarily West Coast based. And in 2012, the board decided that they were going to expand and open offices and facilities in New York as similar to what we had, mirrored to what we had in Los Angeles. At that time, in 2014, we built the offices in New York at the Broadway location. And then in 2016, we built the Robin Williams Center, which was 154-seat theater where we would do our screenings, Q&As, and some of our classes. And then when the pandemic hit and we had to quickly turn everything to virtual, so all of our programming went virtual. It was a really educational process for us to see how many members across the country had a need for programming. So when we went through the pandemic, we were about a year into the pandemic when we realized that our leases were up at 5757. We were kind of scattered all over the buildings. We were on various floors of the building. And because there was so much vacant space in the building, it was an opportunity for us to actually consolidate all of our programming in one spot. We were able to secure a pretty sweet deal with the landlords. And in 2021, we started the project with architectural drawings and plans, and it took off from there.
That's amazing. And I've had the chance to go check it out, and it looks amazing. So why is the center named after Meryl? I mean, other than her being an, amazing artist who is unparalleled in her craft, like why is it named after her?
It's so interesting. Meryl Streep, and I can say this now, has quietly been giving us money. She is the sole actor who has been giving us money for at least the last 20 years, every year, year in, year out. And when the pandemic hit and we realized what kind of a crisis it was going to create for us, as far as our members were concerned, everybody would be out of work. How do we raise money? I turned to Courtney and I said, I don't think we can raise $10,000 at a time. We've got to go big. So we went to Meryl and I think 7 other actors and asked them each for $1 million. Within 24 hours of the pandemic, Meryl gave us $1 million, which was amazing. And it really started the ball rolling. I could pick up the phone to others and say, Meryl just gave us $1 million. We need $1 million from you as well. And then the same thing happened when the strike took place. Courtney and I said, okay, here we are again. So we literally put out 25 letters. And within another 24 hours, Meryl came back to us, first one in, and said, I'm willing to give another $1 million.
Wow.
She's such a legend and she is such a lioness. I mean, there's no other actress on this planet like her. And for us to see that she supported us when nobody knew, she didn't really want it to be public unless it was going to help us raise money. And she was quietly doing this wonderful deed for her fellow actors. We thought, you know what? It's important to honor her in this way and just show our appreciation. When we were doing all the fundraising, a conversation with Nicole Kidman stands out in my mind. And she said, I've been acting since I was 14. These people are my people. We've got to make sure that everybody's okay. And that was really Meryl's sentiment. And as we started collecting money for both COVID and then for the strike, it was the same sensibility. It was these are people who work at our side every day in and day out on those sets, and we want to make sure that they're taken care of. And so the money did not go into a strike fund. The money went into our emergency assistance fund, which is a much bigger, broader program, but it is there for the members who are really in a crisis and need financial assistance.
And it's a true lifeline for people. I mean, so many people, certainly during the recent strikes, but during the pandemic too, really were safeguarded by what the foundation was able to do in terms of emergency assistance. And I know, speaking from the point of view of someone who works at the union, when someone would come to me and say, I really need help, to know that the foundation was there and to know that the emergency assistance program is there made all the difference for them and frankly for me, as knowing that there's a place to send them. So, let's take this moment to say, not everybody can be Meryl Streep, not everybody can donate $1 million, but anything that someone can contribute to the emergency
Yes.
assistance fund, please do that. I've contributed to it. A lot of people contribute to it because we know that it's going to be really used to help people who are most in need.
Thank you. The thing that's so interesting is, I mean, there are people who, when we give them $750, it's a lifeline. There are others, I mean, during the pandemic, we had a member who had to be medevaced from an island to a hospital because he was in a medical crisis. That was a $10,000 medevac. You know, and he says that we saved his life. I mean, it's the extremes and everything in between. And so we're just thrilled that we're in a position to be able to do that and that we've had the support of our high profiles because let's face it, it's not easy raising money for actors. People go, all actors make millions of dollars. And
Right.
those are not the actors who need our help. And so it's important for us to always remind everybody that, George Clooney does a movie, but he never does a movie by himself. He does a movie with all those other actors.
I think you're absolutely right. There's this sense of community and the sense that this is a collaborative art form where people work together and are bonded as part of that. But also, a lot of the folks who now are able to make these very sizable contributions to the foundation to help support these efforts, they weren't always in that position.
Correct.
They needed help at various points in their careers. They started out somewhere. And for many of our members, even folks who have success, that success isn't guaranteed for life. That doesn't
Right.
necessarily, it's not always going to be the same way it is today. And knowing that as a community, we stand together, I think it's a very comforting and reassuring place to be in a business that's so difficult.
Yes.
And let me just also say, your team who does emergency assistance, they are extraordinary. And,
Thank you.
I think all of us just have such confidence that the foundation is really considering the unique circumstances of every applicant. This is not like a cookie cutter kind of rote process. This is a very individualized, personal thing. To ask for help is hard, and then to help find the right pathway for that is a very special talent.
Yeah. When the strike happened, we realized we needed to add additional social workers, additional clerical people so we could process. We were processing over 100 applications a day, where
That's
there were groups
amazing.
of 8 to 10 people sitting in 2 different rooms, literally going through every single item on an application and really talking about each case individually. We did have members that came to us and said, "My friend got this much and I only got this much." It is so individualized. It's how many children in their do they have children in the family? Are both people working in the entertainment industry, the husband and the wife working in the entertainment industry? It's not, as you said, cookie cutter. So, in a strange way, it was easier to raise 21, $23 million than it was to give it out. Giving it out was a very laborious process, but we felt that it was really fair, and we know that we helped the people that really needed to be helped. So I'm grateful that we were able to do so.
Well, me too. Very, very grateful. So I know one of the things I really did want to focus on in this session is this, the amazing new Merrill Streep Center. Let's talk a little bit about the facility, if we could, because interestingly enough, as we talk about each of these special pieces of the facility that you've put together, they also tie back to specific members who've had an impact on the foundation. One of the centerpieces of the new Center for Performing Artists is the screening room, which is named what?
The Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson screening room.
Tell us about it. Now, obviously, we're on a podcast, so we most of our people are not. No one's going to be able to see this visually, so we're going to have to paint a picture. So go ahead.
It is a beautiful state-of-the-art 100-seat theater. So we have a 16 by 19-foot LED screen. It's a 4K screen that was provided by LG. It's one of only 2 in the city of Los Angeles in a 4K version. We have a Meyer surround sound, a 7.1 Meyer surround sound. So when you are sitting in that theater, you're blasted all the way to the back of the theater. It's just completely engulfing.
Yeah, you showed me a demo in there, and it was just immersive and just
Yes.
almost overwhelming, honestly, but in a really good way.
And, we've had all the studios and networks in because that's where we're gonna be doing our screenings, and they actually asked us to amp it up. And so 2 weeks ago, we added an additional $50,000 worth of sound systems because we wanna make sure that the films are seen the way the filmmakers and the studios expect them to be seen. We want that experience for the audience. It also feels really intimate. I've been on the stage with, the lights on, so when the actors are there doing a Q&A, you can almost reach out and touch people. You can see people's faces. And so it's a very immersive feeling for the participants who are cast members that are doing a Q&A or panel discussions, the people that are sitting on the stage. It feels very unique. It's small, but it's a jewel box, and it is really different from a lot of the other facilities.
And you know what else I feel like is so different about it, Sid, is like when I think about all the different screening rooms that I've been to, and I've been to a lot of them in LA over the years,
Yes,
like this one is the screening room in the sky because you come out of the screening room and you immediately can look out the windows of the top of the SAG-AFTRA Plaza building
yes.
and see the Hollywood sign and see the hills, and like you can see this panoramic view because you are up at the top of the building. Like I don't remember any screening rooms that I've ever been in besides this one that had that kind of impact. So it's really interesting to come from being immersed in this other world to come out and being immersed in something beyond just like walls.
Yes. So we have the entire wing. I guess it's the east wing of the building. And so we have windows that go all the way around. So all of our offices and all of our facilities have these incredible views. And how fitting that you look out onto the Hollywood sign. We like to laugh and say, the Academy is down the street. We're closer to the Hollywood sign than they are. And our members go out on that balcony. They have access to the balcony. So when they're taking classes or they've come for a screening Q&A, they can go out on the balcony, and it just really is a refreshing and it's a wonderful way to experience this. So we're thrilled about that.
Now you mentioned a couple of classrooms. What kind of, programs are gonna be offered in the classrooms?
So we have a couple of classrooms and we have our conference room, which is also used as a classroom, but we have casting access. Right now we have about 3 to 4 casting directors a week coming in and doing casting access where, the members are given sides. Sometimes they're split up, sometimes they're partnered with people, and they actually read for the casting directors. Now they're not reading for a commercial audition, but what we have found traditionally is that if someone is really good, a casting director will remember them, take their little picture with them, and they will remember them and possibly call them in for an actual audition for something else. So we have casting access, then we have all of our business programs. So it's, how do you do your taxes? How do you find a manager? And we also have small group sessions where we have a group of 20 people who actually start in one class and they work their way through a series of 12 classes. And at the end, they become much more accountable because they have homework, they leave with homework, they come back, they've done what they're supposed to do, and it's created a sense of community for them. So we have business classes as well. We have some computer classes. We're not quite up and running 100% yet with computer, but we will have computer classes regularly in our conference room. And then virtual. Pre-pandemic, we would send out our team and maybe a casting director and a voiceover person and maybe a showrunner. We would send them out to Atlanta and we'd do a weekend of classes in Atlanta and then we'd send them to Chicago. So we kind of visited the various areas of the country. But what we found during the pandemic when we went completely virtual is that is the way for us to go. Members were absolutely so engaged from all over the country. And when we came back in person, we made a commitment that every single one of our program people does one full day of virtual programming. So whatever their program is, that is what they hold virtual classes. So we have 2 virtual classrooms where that is done, where they put just like you, they put on the headset, they've got the mic, they do the recording, and they can have, we have some classes that have up to 1,000 people in them.
So you really, run the sort of gamut from live in-person programming to
Yes.
hybrid programming to online programming, and it can really pivot from one to the next as needs
Yes.
dictate.
And then the other thing that we do is we videotape most of it and we put it in our archives on the website. So if you're not available when we do the class, it's online for you to see. And during the pandemic, we had our on camera guys create 12 short videos, 2 or 3 minute videos. How do you set up your lighting? How do you set up your sound? Those videos get thousands and thousands and thousands of views. They live on our website. And so we want to make sure that there's access to everyone at all times.
So, speaking of that, let me ask you this. So, a lot of our listeners may not live in LA. They may be around the country or elsewhere. Maybe sometimes they're here, maybe not at all.
Yeah.
How can they access, foundation activities? And what if you don't live in LA?
You don't live in LA, visit our website. It's pretty self-explanatory. Everything is there. You'll get if you sign up for an account, you'll get regular notifications. I think we send out newsletters weekly and maybe even more than weekly now, where it tells you everything that's going across the whole, whether it's LA, New York, whatever those programs are that are being recorded, they're available to you. All you have to do is sign up, for an account on our website. Everything we offer is free. We have members that take advantage of that. We tracked somebody that took 192 classes last year.
Wow. Now that's commitment. That's commitment to your craft and to your business because you
And
gotta
to your
learn
and to
both.
your bottom line, that's right,
That's right.
because the amount of money that he would have spent on private classes, this is something that you can't get. So we're thrilled to be able to offer that to the members, and we encourage them to take advantage of it.
So now there's also an on-camera studio. Maybe tell us a little bit more about that and who's that named after and what is goes on in the on-camera studio.
So the on-camera studio is operated by our technicians who are also actors and readers, right? So they members are able to book a time. They come in, they work with a camera person who does the reading for them. Will videotape either their audition or will videotape the workout that they're doing, and they get instant feedback. They can then download what they've recorded, take that home with them, watch it over and over again. We currently have 2 people working 5 days a week, and then we've had such demand that we've now added Thursday nights, Friday nights, all day Saturday, and all day Sunday. There was a big need for the actors who would get their sides on a Friday night, and they would have to get their auditions in on Monday morning. And so there was this gap that was left for those members not having this available to them. And because these are free services, as long as there's an available slot, you can book any time and come in and actually have that opportunity to work with the technicians and the reader, and then be able to walk away with either the video of what you've done or your actual audition. So
Well, that is amazing, and especially the weekend access. Although I will note for our avid listeners, they will recognize that in our last negotiation, we did achieve limitations on the turnaround time, so that contractually people are not being put in the position of having to do stuff over the weekend, unless that is actually better for their schedule, which certainly is a possibility.
I think that's what's happening. I think what we're finding is the people who have like a 9 to 5 job,
Right.
and it may not be a 9 to 5 job, but the work precludes them from being able to come in during the week. This gives them the opportunity at night and on weekends to come in, and every single slot has been taken. So it tells you there's demand.
Who is the named sponsor or whatever of the on camera studio?
It is the Leo DiCaprio on camera
It's very
studio,
cool.
and Leo was another one. So Tom and Rita gave us $1 million during the pandemic and $1 million during the strike. Leo gave us $1 million during the strike. And so as you walk through the facility, you will see people's names on walls and on doors, and those are people that are the major donors who really came in big.
It's so appropriate because really that made such a huge difference, right? The contributions that these folks made. I mean, obviously they're very successful and, have financial rewards that have come with that, but being willing to turn around and give that back to help protect their fellow actors, whether it's during the pandemic, during the strike, both, that is really meaningful. And it's a big contribution that can help a lot of people and did help a lot of people.
We agree. And, I think it started with Merrill with this idea that we were going to name the facility after Merrill. And then when we really got into the building of the facility, it became clear to us that this entire facility should have that sensibility of that. This is the community of people who've supported you. One thing I didn't say about the theater is when you go into the theater, you will see the name of every actor who gave a donation over $25,000. Every single seat has a name on it. And
Oh,
it is
wow.
very fun to walk through that facility, try to pick out whose seat you're going to sit in. But again, this is a way for us to really recognize them and thank them and show them our appreciation, and also teach the next generation that this is the way a community works. Acting can be so singular, but it's really not. It's a community of people. And I think for us, we had already had the funding in place to build the facility. So for us to go out and try to raise money to put somebody's name on, some brand name on something, it was like that just didn't seem authentic. And so for us, this was really, it's shocking. We have Oprah Winfrey was another $1 million donor, and we named a classroom after her. And when we wrote her and said, Oprah, we're going to name this classroom after you, she wrote back and said, what do I have to do? We said nothing. And she said, well, do I have to be there because, for the opening? You don't have to be there for the opening, but what do I have to do? And we said, you've already done it. That's the whole premise of this. And she said, I have never had anybody give me something like this without expecting something in return. And we just said, these people gave to us when it was critical. And I know that we could go back to them again if we had to. So it just feels like it was the right thing to do.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's a great story. So, one of the things that I know for many years actually our members have really appreciated has been the voiceover lab, the Don LaFontaine voiceover lab, which
Yes.
has existed for a long time down on the mezzanine or second floor level of this building. So, what's happened with that? Sid, is it gone?
No, it's not gone. We brought that back up. We added another $1.5 million worth of high-tech equipment. I think that was the other thing as our facilities were rounding 12 to 13 years old downstairs. And when our lease was coming up, we actually tried to to discern whether or not it was important enough for us to try and add to the facilities that we have. And everything was so archaic. Technology had really come so far in 12, 13 years. So we decided that when we were building this new facility, again, we had to do state of the art. If we're not providing state of the art equipment for our members to be using, they're not going to be using the equipment that they're going to be using, when they're actually working. And so we completely revamped and we added some to it. So we have a large booth, we call it the main booth, which can hold up to 5 people auditioning at one time or working on a script together at one time, where there's an engineer sitting there all day long working with them on that. It's also a classroom for up to 20 people. And we use the classroom when the professionals come in. We usually have 2 professional classes where we'll have a person from animation, we'll have a person from voiceover commercials, we'll have a person that comes in and does, game voiceovers. They will come in and they'll teach a class. So at night, that is turned into a classroom. During the day, 2 days a week, at least in LA, on Thursdays and Fridays, twice a day, we have classes with our regular engineers. And so it is the hub of a lot of activity for the voiceover community. And then on top of that, we have 2 solo booths that are set up with the latest in technology where a member can come in, they literally bring their copy with them. They can sit in that booth and engineer themselves. We teach them how to use the equipment. They can engineer, edit, and do a complete. We have lots of people that come in and do their auditions. We have lots of people that just come in and do their own work and work out with it. And so both of those booths are available during the day, all day long as well. So it's that and the on camera lab. Those are probably our 2 biggest successes as far as what we're offering the members.
Oh, that's so great. Now, I happen to know because I walked past it and you told me a little bit about it that there's a green room as well.
There is a green room.
Tell us about the green room.
Green room is the Nicole Kidman Green Room. LG not only provided the 4K screen in the screening room, but every classroom, of which we have several, every classroom, every room that has public facing facilities has a pretty large LG screen. And in the screening room, it is a screening room that is decked out so that when the folks come in for screenings and Q&As, they can sit in the green room and watch what's going on in the screening room on that television. It's furnished by our house, so they put in a significant amount of furniture. Nicole Kidman actually worked with the designers. She said if her name was going to be on it, she would like to be involved in the designing of the room. So Nicole Kidman picked out the furniture in the room. And again, we have an outward facing balcony that looks to downtown Los Angeles, down to the water. And so when people are in the green room, they can also go out on that balcony and enjoy the views there.
That's fantastic. Now, I mean, we've talked a lot about how, especially certain members have donated a significant amount of money and made real commitments to the foundation. But, the foundation has other programs that are even more broadly focused than the member or actor community where actors give back. And I mean, to me, the epitome of this is Storyline Online. Can you just talk a little bit about that and about this way that actors give back that's really not about money, but it's about making a real difference?
It's our literacy program, which was started in 2000 as a call in. So kids in hospitals could call into a telephone number, and there was somebody that was an actor that was reading a story. And that evolved into, well, we'll videotape them. And then we sent out CDs all over the country. And then it was like, well, let's create a website. Currently, the website, I think, has almost 90 videos on it. It's everyone from lovely Betty White to Rita Moreno to the list of actors is long, and Meryl just read for us. She just read a beautiful book for us. Kate Blanchett is going to be reading a book for us in the next couple of weeks. We just had June Squibb read a book the other day. We do about 7 to 10 videos a year where we have their children's books. They read to kindergarten to 4th grade. Those are the levels. And they're children's books, everything from funny comical books to very serious and moral books to educational books about things that have happened in our history. We've received 2 Emmy nominations, 2 Daytime Emmy nominations. It is endorsed by the American Federation of Teachers, the teachers union. It's endorsed by the American Library Association. It is just a wonderful opportunity for our actors to actually spend 1 hour reading a story that is videotaped and then is then seen by, we have over 900 million kids around the world. Teachers are using this
Wow.
in their schools here in the US, but they're also using it in foreign countries as ways to teach kids how to learn English. So these will live on in infamy. They're on the site and they're not going away, and it's really a wonderful gift that we're giving back to the community.
Yeah, and it's about the next generation.
Yes, then you have the world's best storytellers, right? Telling kids stories. So it's really a beautiful thing, and the actors that have done it, have walked away shaking their head going, "This was amazing."
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, look, I could talk to you all day, Sid, but I do want to specifically ask before we wrap up for our listeners, whether they are SAG-AFTRA members or maybe they're not, but they are interested and want to support the foundation's activities. How can people get active and support the foundation's work?
Every dollar counts, and I will tell you, you know this, Duncan, because you and I met the same young member. We had a member who was here in Los Angeles on vacation, and one of the days he was going to Disneyland, and the next day he wanted to come and walk on the picket lines. When he came to pick up his picket sign, he said to his dad he wanted to give $20 from his vacation money to go towards emergency assistance. I broke down in tears. That was as important to me as some of the $1 million donors, because it was somebody who really understood at 6 years old or 7 years old. I can't remember how old he was. He understood that giving back was important no matter how much. We're actually starting a campaign for our 40th anniversary, $40 for 40 years. So if you've participated in any of our programs and you're in a position to be able to do it, and you're a member and you want to give back, give $1 for every year that the foundation has been here. You go onto our website, SAG-AFTRA Foundation website, and it's very easy to give online. And we appreciate all of it because this is what's going to take us into the next 40 years.
Sid Wilson, Executive Director, SAG-AFTRA Foundation, thank you so much for being with us, sharing all of that with us. I'm so excited about the new Meryl Streep Center for Performing Artists. I'm sure that everyone who's listened to this podcast is too. Thanks for everything you do, Sid, and for your whole team, the board of the foundation.
Thank you.
The president of the foundation, Courtney P. Vance, who
God
you mentioned
bless him.
earlier. We are so lucky to have such a committed group of leaders and staff who work in the foundation and make it all possible. So thank you on behalf of
Thank you.
SAG-AFTRA members and all of us. Thank you to you and to them for that.
Thank you, Duncan.
And thanks, everybody. We'll see you on the next SAG-AFTRA podcast. The SAG-AFTRA podcast is produced and edited by Aaron Goddard and John Small. Supervising producers are Pamela Greenwald, Shira Reich, and Mike McNulty, with production and marketing support from Damon Romine, Jalika Conte, Delaney Howard, Margot Giordano, Joe Mulgado, and May Wong. I'm Duncan Crabtree Ireland. See you at the next SAG-AFTRA podcast.